All right, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Floyd, aka Your Negus, aka Kamish, and owner of Team Delaney's Saggy Tits. And we are here with the best fantasy football league in the world, of course, as Nantucketts Revenge. And as per usual, I'm joined by my lovely co-host and the owner of Team Thousand Oaks Gang, Michael Wiseman. How you doing, buddy?
What's up? Mikey Wise back here. Week 4 coming up.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks in the books. Wiseman, how about you run through the standings like usual?
Yeah, no problem. Sitting alone at the top at 3-0 is Team Rusty Cunts, owner Trevor. In second, we have, I guess it's kind of a tie for second. Tiebreakers, points scored. But all the 2-1 teams we got are Team Butts, Kyle Butts' team, Toledo Cheek Clappers, Billy, Four Down Territory, Mike, Delaney Saggy Tits, Jad, and Juices Loose, Mikey. And then we have, 5 1 and 2 teams, which are xnxx.com/Alexis Texas, Rob, Bye Week, Devin, myself, Thousand Oaks Gang, Evansdale Carpet Munchers, Nick, and Get to Black, Damien, followed by the only 0-3 team sitting at the bottom, the Golden Taint, Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky's got a pretty quality roster to be 0-3, so it would be a big deal. I know he's facing Billy, and it's not going to be an easy week for him. We'll see that. If he slips to 0-4, that would be pretty mind-boggling to me. And Trevor squeaked by it was him versus Butts. Butts still in second place even after taking that loss. They're both undefeated, and Trevor won by a landslide, I believe.
Yeah, he had a pretty big week out of some of his guys. But yeah, do you want to go over?
So shall we hop right into recent activity?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I think we had one trade.
Only one trade. I think
so.
Mine was the only trade this week.
I think so.
The waiver wire was popping this week. If we see, let's start at the waiver wire. Let's see, starting on Wednesday, aka yesterday, we got Butts adding Darrell Williams from Kansas City for $8. I added Deion Lewis for $1. A couple defenses, a couple tight ends gone. You were the big bidder on Wayne Gallman for $30.
That's right.
I went and looked. Mike missed him for $25. Another team missed him for $20. I missed him for $17. Another team missed him for $16, and Butts missed him for $3.
Thought he was slick.
$3 for Wayne Gallman.
How was Darrell Williams $8 and Wayne Gallman was $3?
And then Butts went and bid on someone else for that much. Oh, he tried bidding on Ronald Jones.
He got Jack Doyle for $3.
Him and Robert were the only two to bid on Ronald Jones. Robert grabbed him for $14. My trade with Ricky yesterday, we were going back and forth. There's just some middling trades. We couldn't find none. I actually had Melvin Gordon for a decent price off of him, but this was before the news came out that he was ending the holdout. And I was thinking about it for hours, and then finally I go back to it, and Ricky had gotten rid of the offer. So that was kind of annoying. So we kept going back and forth. Eventually, I traded him Larry Fitzgerald and Malcolm Brown for DJ Chark, Demarcus Robinson, and Alexander Madison. What do you make of that, Wiseman?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. No real big names here. I guess the closest thing to it would be Larry Fitzgerald. So not really any. I mean, I guess by scoring there might be a couple top 10 guys in there, but apart from the scoring factor alone, none of these guys would crack like a top 10 or top 15 for rankings. So not too many big moves, I would say, but clearly you wanted to cash in on the uprising Demarcus Robinson and DJ Chark. It's Shark, right? DJ Shark?
I've heard Shark, yeah.
All right. Well, I think you were trying to ride that wave because they're both on the up and up right now, and you're trying to sell high on Larry Fitzgerald, and I think that Ricky's trying to do the same thing, sell high on those two guys. And obviously Madison looks involved in the backfield in Minnesota since they want to run the ball like 100 times a game. So I think that you guys both got decent pieces for your roster. It's kind of a
Yeah.
situational trade.
Yeah, my thought behind it was just as much as just small things. Obviously, this is a marginal trade. Getting rid of Larry Fitzgerald to help uncap my upside a little bit, having a pair of Cardinals on the team. Hoping Fitzgerald and Shark can be a wash, although we know Arizona plays the fastest paced game in the NFL right now, and Larry Fitzgerald is a main component in that red zone for them. So I kind of lose reliability in Larry Fitzgerald. But I think grabbing Demarcus Robinson, at least for the time being before Tyreek Hill comes back, any week being in the best offense with the best quarterback in the NFL, which we've already seen, he can just take the top off. So doing that, because I was starting Devin Smith as my last flex. So this is obviously going to be more consistent with higher upside. And then I believe I almost got the 3-for-1. I didn't have to add Malcolm Brown, but he was not about it without Malcolm Brown, which ended up being fine for me. I didn't want to do it, but my opinion, Madison is the most valuable handcuff in the NFL right now, given Minnesota's running success. And watching Minnesota's backfield, when Madison is in, and then even Mike Boone runs a little bit different. Madison, and it's almost hard to tell if it's Madison or Dalvin Cook running the ball. So they have very similar skill sets, and a team that is running the ball is the most efficient in the NFL. Between him and Tony Pollard, those are my two favorites. And until the Rams proved to even do anything out of that backfield, it's like, yeah, maybe on a per-game basis, Malcolm Brown could score more, but I'm never going to confidently start him anyway.
You had a good week
realistically,
one,
both guys are waiting on an injury.
Heard. And you dropped Randall Cobb for no reason.
And I accidentally dropped Randall Cobb because we were doing 3-for-1s the whole time. And then eventually I had to add Malcolm Brown in there. So I just instinctively went to drop two guys, and it was Randall Cobb. And people went ham for him. I think there was 2 or 3 bids on him. Ricky grabs him for $9. But as I seen when I opened this up right before we started, what do you make of Antonio Brown being dropped for Matt Stafford when Ricky has a backup defense and a backup defense and someone else on his roster? What do you make of that?
I'm pretty sure Antonio Brown said he wasn't going to play in the NFL again, so I think that's what the rationale behind that is.
Are you going to bid on Antonio Brown?
No, I'm not touching Antonio Brown.
I'll bid on him.
All right, well, you're just wasting a roster spot, but be my guest. All right, scores. Week 3 in the books. I think we ought to start by announcing who the person who is eliminated from the Survivor Challenge, and once that loads, I will look, because I actually don't remember who had the lowest score.
Let me see. Week 2, our lowest score was Devin Jimenez with 70. Oh, it was week 3. It was week 2. Gotta go to week 3. Lowest score of week 3 was our highest scoring week of the year with nobody in double digits. The lowest score at 104. Evansdale Carpet Munchers. Nick hasn't been eliminated yet, correct?
Nope. Right. Yep. So it's been me week 1, Devin week 2, Nick week 3.
All right. So they're eliminated from our $100 bonus. Just for shits and giggles, our high score of the week last week was Billy at 181.
Yep, but unfortunately there's no reward for that.
Trophy?
No trophies.
All right, let me find the schedule here.
Yeah, I'll start with my matchup with Mike. He ended up beating me 127 to 118. It was neck and neck the whole week until that Sunday night game where Cooper Kupp went off for 33 points, which sealed the victory for him. I don't remember who it was. I'm pretty sure it was Nelson Aguilar who had a better than expected fantasy day. So right when he did that, I knew I was in trouble. But then when it went to the Sunday night game, I had a little bit of a lead and Nick Chubb going, so I was hopeful that I could hold on. But at the end of the day, my team really didn't perform up to the standard that I would expect, and I got the loss for it. So well done, Mike.
For sure. And then my matchup with Ricky, the key, I won 150 to 124. The victory lap belongs to Daniel Jones and Evan Ingram, combined scoring me 56 points. And then just getting a touchdown out of the guys that I needed to get one, David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. Robert Woods still underperformed, but I'm fine with that. Aaron Jones had 2 touchdowns, so I got enough of what I needed to be a middling scoring guy and survived Julio Jones and Dalvin Cook. So go with that. He threw it on James Washington, Demarcus Robinson, and Mike Williams. They all didn't do as well as he had hoped.
All right, and then the next matchup we got is the Toledo Cheat Clappers prevailing over the Evansdale Carpet Munchers, 181 to 104.
Highest score versus lowest score.
Yep, right. So Nick got beat pretty handily here. Alvin Kamara, I'm pretty sure, had his best week of the season with 36. Tyler Lockett has his best week of the season with 32. Philip Lindsay had his best week of the season with 28. Cooper had a really good week as well, I remember. So Billy's team, I mean, that's got to be about the ceiling, right? 181 points, that's a lot. So Billy's team hit this week, and sorry about your luck, Nick. Doesn't look like you would beat anyone this week, though, so I guess it didn't end up mattering.
Well, regardless, you'd say the Evansdale Carpet Munchers got boosted.
They got their cheeks clapped by the Toledo Cheat Clappers.
And then our matchup of the week are 2-0 teams. Trevor wins by a landslide, although Butts still put in a good fight. It was 168 to 146. The keys here being Darren Waller putting up 26, Mark Ingram 35 with 3 touchdowns. And then everybody, Trevor actually got a donut out of Darwin Thompson. But it was enough because Butts just had way too many people in the single digits, because although he had Keenan Allen, Sanders, Godwin, Josh Jacobs all went in the single digits, so that's not going to get you any W's.
Keenan Allen went stupid hard, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, so Trevor survived McCaffrey and Keenan Allen, not easy to do.
To improve to 3-0, no less.
Yeah.
And then next up we have, I believe, which would have been our closest matchup, decided by 7 points. Team Juice's Loose beat bye week by a score of 133 to 126. Key performances for the winning team here were Sterling Shepard, 27 points. Man, I didn't realize how many points the Giants put up for fantasy. Crazy. And then Pat Mahomes, 26. T.Y. Hilton, 20, were his top 3 scorers. So I guess hats off to Mikey for winning this week without having Bell and James Conner be in his top 3 scorers. So his team got the job done. A top scorer for Devin's team was LaShawn McCoy with 22 points. Hopkins hasn't been doing so well this season for Devin, and can't remember who his running backs are. He's got Mixon as one of them, and then Henry. Yeah, so just not enough. 126 is a decent haul for points, but just wasn't enough to get the job done this week for Devin. So he falls to 1-2. Mikey improves to 2-1.
I think it's a pair of bottom teams in this league. I guess we'll see.
Indeed.
And last but not least, we got Rob versus Damien. Alexis, Texas, defending champs versus Team Get to Black. Rob taking it down, getting his first W, winning 154 to 120. The big news in this one is Rob losing Saquon for an extended period of time. Luckily, Mike Evans put up 45 for him, and Bears D put up 20, and that proved to be the difference.
I remember following this one throughout the day. It was looking like Damien was going to pull it off. His team started off very strong. A lot of his guys had touchdowns, and then Mike Evans returned to fantasy relevance in week 3, put up a 45-point smash performance, and got Rob the victory. So Mike Evans ended up proving to be the difference. Oh, and Chicago's defense put up 20 points, which, of course, helpful. So, yep, Rob gets his first win, even though at the beginning it looked like he was going to fall to 0-3, but I guess the result was never in doubt.
Alrighty, and that does it for last week. Moving on to week 4. Loving week 4. My first matchup right here is going to be Team Delaney's Saggy Tits versus Team Butts. It's a big matchup, a pair of 2-1 teams. Oh no, I'm getting an ad right here on ESPN. Okay, it's gone. I don't have a defense in right now. So this has Butts projected to beat me 115 to 132. But that being said, I'm going to be fearing Keenan Allen versus Miami, obviously. Houston's defense isn't that awesome, so Christian McCaffrey could also lay it on me. I'm not going to fear Josh Jacobs much, being a 7-point road underdog against Indianapolis. Or Emmanuel Sanders versus Jacksonville. I think if Chris Godwin and Josh Jacobs don't go ungodly, I certainly have a chance. I think my matchups are really great this week. I have Daniel Jones, Evan Ingram should lay up the scoreboard against Washington. Seattle versus Arizona is going to be a high-scoring game as well. Same thing with Aaron Jones against Philadelphia. Robert Woods against Tampa Bay. I essentially love all of my matchups except for Jarvis Landry at Baltimore. So I actually have myself winning this one.
I'm not a huge fan of Josh Gordon against Buffalo or DJ Shark against Denver, but just because those guys are going to see the top corners, I would imagine. Can't remember the name of the top corner at Buffalo, but I know he's good, and he'll probably cover Josh Gordon most of the game, and then Chris Harris Jr. will cover DJ Shark, so he's pretty solid. But, anything's possible. The rest of them, you're right, are solid matchups. Those ones I could foresee just being a little tougher. As far as Butts' team goes, yeah, that Rivers Keenan Allen stack is going to be huge against Miami. I bet a ton of people are running that in DraftKings this week. But, yeah, if he doesn't get solid production out of Allen, Rivers, and McCaffrey, I'm not 100% sure where the points are going to come from. So, McCole Hardman, possibly, if he gets a long touchdown like he did past couple weeks.
Yeah, it could come down to Hardman versus Robinson, so I guess we'll see.
Jaguars' defense also could destroy Denver. Joe Flacco sucks.
No, they certainly will. Is that who he's starting?
Yeah, Joe Flacco sucks, and he's got the Jags' defense against him. So
Yeah, they'll probably score at least 10 points.
Here.
Cool. Next matchup, Wiseman, if you want to take us through it, if you got it loaded, Team Thousand Oaks Gang versus Juices Loose. Mikey Martinez is 2-1.
Yep. Projections have me as the 5-point favorite, winning 127 to 122. Obviously, so close. It's not obvious. As far as for my team, I'm really gonna need a big start tonight out of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Anything less than 30 points, I'm gonna be disappointed. But some of my guys have tough matchups. I'm not a huge fan of Chubb playing against Baltimore, but the volume's there, so obviously I have to start him. We're going to see what Wayne Gallman can do against Washington. Obviously, he's not going to get Saquon-level volume, but there's going to be opportunities. Daniel Jones appears to be a vast improvement over Eli Manning. So I'm starting him with optimism. Obviously, it's not certain, but Tyler Boyd against Pittsburgh, like the matchup. Kirk against Seattle, like that as well. Hooper's production last week's not sustainable, but I just need like 10 points out of him and I'll be happy. I hate starting Steph Diggs, but I don't really have a choice. And Tyrell Williams seems to be the red zone target in Oakland. And even though the Colts defense is solid, I am starting them this week. I still have faith Tyrell Williams might get me at least 12 points, which I'm happy with. As far as Mikey's team goes, him having Bell out on a bye is huge. I'm scared of some of his guys because if Hilton Fuller and John Ross all hit, I'm going to get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't, his team is not going to put up very many points. Pat Mahomes, I'm banking on it being his top scorer, scoring at least 25 points, maybe up to 40. We'll see. But as long as Pat Mahomes' performance isn't crazy, and as long as his wide receivers don't hit their ceiling, I like my chances.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We've mentioned it many times. Mikey's team has a huge ceiling, but a drastically gross floor, being that his receivers are all over the top guys, T.Y. Hilton, Will Fuller, John Ross. But with Sterling Shepard back, that adds some floor and ceiling to his team. Shepard, Richardson, even Will Dissly against Arizona, and Patrick Mahomes all play well. That's what's going to bring it close. But then, like we said, it's going to really come down to those three receivers. I think if he can get 2 touchdowns out of those 3 guys, you could definitely be in danger.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Mikey's team is 2-1. I'm 1-2, so we could both be at 2-2, or he could be 3-1 and I could be 1-3. We'll see how it goes.
On to the next. We got Toledo Cheek Clappers. That's Billy Block versus the Golden Taint. Ricky Grodi, 2-1 versus 0-3. I mentioned it before. I think this is our matchup of the week. It would be really sad to see a team go 0-4, especially one as good as Ricky's and Billy's team is no slouch of a team either. I think Ricky having Dalvin Cook and Marlon Mack on any given week is obviously great. Got Julio Jones, Allen Robinson. Now he's added Larry Fitzgerald for a little bit of consistency against a terrible Seattle secondary. Zach Ertz in this game against Green Bay. I'm going to have to take Ricky's team. He's projected to only win by 5. But when you're going, Kyler Murray should have his highest scoring game of the year, I think, this week against Seattle. Alvin Kamara is always a huge threat. Amari Cooper against New Orleans. Travis Kelce's always a threat. And Tyler Lockett against Arizona. Tyler Lockett should have no problem scoring 15 fantasy points at least this week, at least. So while I take Ricky, I could easily see him losing this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Ricky's going to win. I'm not as optimistic about Billy's team as you are, although I wouldn't have guessed Billy's team would score 180 points last week. So obviously I'm not right all the time, but Kenyon Drake and really any piece of that Miami team, I'm staying as far away as possible. I don't want any piece of that. I'm not a fan of starting Ted Ginn or Jason Witten, but Billy's 2-1 and I'm 1-2, so what do I know?
What do you know, mate?
Not a damn thing. Next matchup, Rusty Kuntz, Trevor Scotchell 3-0 versus bye week Devin Jimenez 1-2. I think this one's pretty obvious here. Trevor's the 16-point favorite according to ESPN. I think that is deserved. I think that Trevor's team has some very good matchups. A couple tough ones. I would say that OBJ at Baltimore is tough, as is David Montgomery at Minnesota. But apart from that, I like all of his matchups. And looking at Devin's team, I'm not a fan of starting Josh Allen against New England because I think New England's going to have their offense on the field a lot, and Josh Allen might not have a ton of opportunities. For whatever reason, Hopkins has been struggling. Houston's winning games, so I don't know what the issue might be there. Maybe it's just not happening for him so far this year, but I think Devin will need a big game out of Hopkins to have a chance here.
Yeah, I think Devin's team is going to be very touchdown dependent if they want to beat Trevor in this one. I just don't see enough ceiling on his team.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the fact that it doesn't have enough ceiling, but also the floor is pretty low because, Derrick Henry's been decent for fantasy this season, but he's also capable of getting you 3 points. Tyler Eifert's capable of a donut. Marquise Brown has shown last week that even though Baltimore really had to score against Kansas City, still wasn't super involved. But, he's a rookie, so I'm assuming he's still getting acclimated to the NFL level, despite having a really good fantasy game week 1 and 2.
Yeah, Devin has George Kittle on bye. He's starting Tyler Eifert and flexing Delaney Walker. I'm curious that he didn't make any moves on the waiver, if there was any, to fix that flex spot. But to each his own. He's starting Tyler Eifert this week, and he's going to get spanked. All right, our next matchup, if I'm not mistaken, it's 4-down territory versus Team Get to Black. Is that right?
Yep.
All righty. Wow, at first glance, this is the highest I've ever seen a team projected to beat someone else. We got Fort Ontario territory Mike Brobst versus gets a black Damian Brown. Mike is projected to win by 24 points. Damian only projected to score 104 points.
Is there a reason why it's so low? I'm looking up and down his team. Like, is anyone projected?
Well,
like
what about Damian
zero?
Williams? Probably. What's his projection?
It doesn't even say, but it might be 0. But regardless, just looking at this objectively, Mike's team, Dak against New Orleans, is going to be great. Chris Carson against Arizona. If Chris Carson can hold on to the football, is good. Same with Cooper Kupp against Tampa Bay. It's a good matchup. Nelson Aguilar, provided that Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are not playing, is decent. Mark Andrews, we'll see how his foot's feeling. I know he didn't really do much last week, but if he's healthy now, you'd bank on that. Curtis Samuel might be brought back to fantasy relevance now that they've got Allen going in Carolina, and same thing with Greg Olsen. So he's starting 2 Panthers in his flex, really banking on that new quarterback putting the team on his back. And then best defensive play of the week, Chargers against Miami. So I like Mike's upside a lot. As far as Damian's team goes, some tough matchups, but I think his running backs will have the volume to at least be relevant. Thielen against Chicago's tough. Marvin Jones against Kansas City, I'm okay with that. Sutton against Jacksonville's tough. The Steelers' offense is just kind of looking bad, so I don't know how to feel about McDonald right now. And then either of his running backs in his flexes, I don't know, Damian Williams might not play, might not lead the team in touches, who knows? And then Miles Sanders, it's kind of ambiguous what's going on with the backfield there in Philadelphia, but I suppose that's how it always is with Doug Peterson. So, I don't really see enough ceiling out of Damian's team to get this one done. I think the projections are warranted. I think Mike will take this one.
Yeah. What do you make of what happens when the Panthers beat Houston this week and Cam Newton's supposed to come back?
Then Cam Newton doesn't start.
What? You think they would do that?
Maybe they wouldn't do that, but maybe they should.
They should. It's just there's so much money behind just benching Cam Newton. Like, can they do that?
Well, he still gets paid, so I mean.
No, I'm just saying, like, as far as like jersey sales and how much he means to the team and the community, like how much he's actually worth, not really how much he's getting paid. I mean, he's been the franchise guy for so long. Like, do they really just sit Cam Newton?
Do they want to win?
Maybe they don't want to win. In our last matchup, of course, we've got Team Alexis, Texas versus the Evansville Carpet Monsters. Rob Davis, the backyard defending champ, versus perennial poop dick team. Nick, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Hey, they're both 1 and 2. So
Nick, I know you watch these videos all the time. Not everybody does. I'm so grateful for you, man. Thank you so much. Keep grinding, buddy.
Yeah, but they're both
So
1 and 2. So I mean,
yeah.
As far as I can tell, it's anyone's match. I know I don't need to remind you who Nick got his win against. So don't sleep on the Carpet Munchers. Although I will say that looking at matchups, it's probably going to be Rob this week. Mike Evans appears to be back to his normal self, so that's good. Running backs, both Fournette and Freeman, have been disappointing this season. I think everyone can agree. But if they get anywhere between 15 and 20 points, that's enough. Jared Goff has been asked for fantasy this year. I don't know if Rob has another option at quarterback, but in any leagues that I've had Goff, I've moved on. Sammy Watkins, obviously capable of a huge week. Just reference week 1. Terry McLaurin has been huge so far this season, so hats off to you, Rob. You called it in the preseason. And then Hawkinson has been poop apart from week 1. Calvin Ridley, for some reason, only had like 1 catch last week. And then, like I said about Kenyon Drake, on Billy's team, I'm not touching anyone on the Dolphins. So, all that being said, I think that Rob's receivers are going to be enough to carry him through this matchup because apart from Lamar Jackson and Michael Thomas and maybe Kenny Galladay, I don't know exactly how much faith I have in Nick's guys to put up points.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was hoping Rob would fall to 0-3, just like Ricky. His team's just got so much opportunity at every position. The two biggest deals, huge difference makers for his team, were Terry McLaurin and Sammy Watkins this year. Rob even has Saquon Barkley sitting on the bench, so I couldn't pray against Rob more. So let's go Carpet Munchers.
Listen, I'm gonna say that Rob's team should win this one, but Nick's team is capable of getting the win if some of Rob's players who have been disappointing this season continue to be disappointing.
I agree 100%.
Like if Fournette, Freeman, and Hawkinson and Preston Williams all put up 5 points or less or 10 points or less, he's going to need a lot out of the remaining guys.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. So that's going to do it from our matchups this week, as well as waiver, et cetera, et cetera. Wiseman, let me share screen real quick here.
Yeah, we got the B League for y'all.
We all shared up?
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's peep the standings. With Team Victoria's Secret, David Carr, and Big Boys Don't Cry, Dustin Jacobs, our two undefeated teams, 3-0s. Ryan Brill and my sister trailing right behind at 2-1. But me and Coach and cook them up. My brother, the highest scoring 1 and 2 teams. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1 and 2 teams. No teams without a win. My brother leading that way with Maddie Sabecki right behind, who just lost. She was going against Victoria's Secret last week, I believe, and they were the two highest scoring teams of the week. So that's heartbreaking because she also lost Saquon Barkley. So that's going to be tough uphill sledding. Cheating ass Chelsea, Toledo Gale Quails, how cute, right there next to each other. Bansky's Buccos, Devin Urbanski, Team Johnson, Brandon Johnson, Miller Time, and the Panthers suck. That's Stephanie Andrews. Stephanie Andrews sitting dead last at the bottom. Not much to say there. As far as points for goes, my sister is actually sitting in 4th place with the lowest points scored, with by far the lowest points scored against. So variance will probably take its course and chew her up after a while. My brother being the 3rd highest scoring team, not so shabby. Let's look at their scoreboard from last week.
Yeah, we got some dangerous looking teams in here. I think Brill's team is looking pretty good, Ryan Brill, and then Dustin Jacobs' team's good as well. And evidently, your old rugby coach's team's pretty good for him to be 3-0.
Yeah. He scored 203 last week.
Points.
Maddie at 150. Let's take a look at this box score. Oh my God. Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, Alvin Kamara.
Damn, 200 points? Whew. Yeah, he punished him. Yeah, his team went off last week.
Maddie probably scored higher than expectation anyway with Greg Olson and Mark Ingram.
Yeah, Mark Ingram went off.
And T.Y. Hilton absolutely lighting up the board. When you start Nyheim Hines, you're kind of submitting to the week.
Yeah, she's about to have Melvin Gordon, though.
Yeah. Marlon Mack, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Keenan Allen, Evan Ingram.
It's solid. I don't know why he'd start John Ross over DJ Shark, but hey, man, he's 3-0. I can't take anything away from him.
Bunch of 1 and 2 teams banging it out this week. Here's 6 of them right here.
Wow. It's going to get real close then.
Yeah. We got the best team going against the worst team. Or if you want to say last place versus first place.
You'll love to see it.
Drake's got Dustin Jacobs this week. Man, let's see Drake's team. Rough sledding when you got OBJ and Julio Jones.
Drake's the only one in the League 2, in the second league right now that was in the top spot, the top league last year. And yeah, it's not gone so well for him so far with Michelle. And I mean, Aaron Jones has been decent, but Sonny Michel's definitely been underperforming.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see Drake not doing so well right now. When you have Julio Jones, OBJ, Phillip Lindsay's been having good weeks. Kenny Galladay's been doing fine. Aaron Jones has been doing fine.
Who's this tight end? Does he have someone that's on bye?
He doesn't have one. Oh, Nick Van Nett right now. On Jeffrey.
What's going on, Drake?
Who you got this week versus our 3-0 team? Dustin Jacob versus Drake.
Oh, dude, it has to be Dustin Jacob right now. Look at his team.
What about his team? I'm not that impressed with his team. I like Chris Carson this week. Shady McCoy is going to be hit or miss. Brandon Cooks could take the top off, but who knows? Fuck Hollywood Brown.
Dude, I think Dak, Kelsey, Darren Waller, and the Jaguars D is going to be enough this week.
Julio Jones is going against a terrible secondary. Kenny Galladay is going to be in a shootout. I think Drake could pull this one off.
He could.
I got the Gale Quills.
All right.
That's my upset of the week. I got Gale Quills, upset of the week, both leagues combined. I got the Toledo Gale Quills taking on Big Boys Don't Cry. Drake's looking to claw his way back after losing the relegation last year. It was everything to him. He was crushed. I see him clawing his way back, taking out one of the undefeated teams, doing himself a huge favor and knocking one of those guys down. I got the Gale Quills this week in my upset of the week.
I'm sure he will be touched to hear that.
Let's see if any trades. I don't think any trades have came out of their league. I haven't gotten any notifications.
I'm assuming there won't be a ton of activity in that
My brother
one.
added Wayne Gallman. Oh, well, another thing is this league does not do the fab budget, so they don't spend money, so they go straight classic waiver style. No bidding. I'm seeing Tony Pollard was finally added this week. Wayne Gallman was added this week. Bunch of defenses, bunch of tight ends. Look at my sister being slick. Added Nelson Aguilar.
Fuck Nelson Aguilar.
Oh, Tony Pollard was dropped last week for Frank Gore. Okay. I can see where you would need to do that. As I look at creep on my sister's team here, that's going to wrap it up from Nantucket's Revenge. Wiseman, you got anything to say, buddy?
Nothing too crazy. Props to Trevor for starting 3-0. He's got a really good start, really good team. And then, sorry about your luck, Ricky, that you're 0-3. You don't deserve it with the team that you ended up with, but sometimes that's just the way it goes in fantasy. You need a little bit of luck on your side as well as skill. So we got some interesting matchups this week. I'm interested to see what the standings look like after Week 4 is concluded. And for tonight, let's go Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Give me some fucking points.
Who you got, Packers or Eagles?
Packers.
Duh. It's going to be a shootout, though. It's going to be a lot of fantasy goodness tonight. A lot
I'd love to see it.
Let's hope it all goes to Aaron Jones. God bless. Deuces.